Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. I just saw I'm going to use the word beautiful, the most beautiful the most beautiful movie in the world, the most powerful movie in the world. And it is in absolute alignment with everything I've been trying to teach you guys and express to you guys to get you to understand what's going on. And the name of that movie it's been around, it's quite an old movie. I don't know if it's like 10, 15 years old, but it's Robin Williams is in it, and it's called What Dreams May Come, okay? Robin Williams is in it, Cuba Gooding Jr., and a beautiful lady, Annabella Sciorra. So I just finished watching that movie, and as I was going through that movie, it's everything in alignment with what I've been doing my entire adult life, what I've been learning, training in, and the work that I've been doing. So I'm going to put a link of that movie in the description box because I think it's really, 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 really important for you to watch that movie. I think it's going to help you understand what I've been trying to teach you guys for the last year, maybe 2 years now. Talking about clarity, that movie showed me why I'm here. I'm just gonna dive right into this. You know, I've been telling you guys a couple things over and over, off and on throughout the videos, and one of them is that you are powerful beyond your imagination. You have no idea how powerful you are. The other thing that I've been trying to explain to you, I might say it in a slightly different way, is that you literally are the creator of your reality. And that's what you're supposed to learn. That's why you're here. You're supposed to wake up and realize that you've created every experience in your life, whether it be good, bad, right or wrong, whether you like it or you don't like it. See, when you begin to realize that you're the one that's been creating this reality, you can then start to paint the picture that you've always wanted. You can begin to create the movie, the life that you've always wanted. Now, I'm going to give you a concept right now. And I've said it before, but watching this movie, once you watch that movie, you're going to realize, like, wait a minute, this is what I've been doing my whole life. I'm like, yes. Now listen closely, even write it down. You get what you focus on. So focus on what you want. Because whatever you focus on, that is what you're creating. And that's how you're creating it. Now let's stop right here. Let's not go past that message that I just said. That is the message of the universe, of your lifetime. This is what Jesus was trying to show us. This is what it is all about. You get what you focus on. Period. If you don't want to crash, well, guess what? You're going to crash. But Mike, I said I don't want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you say want or don't want. You get whatever you focus on. If we were in a workshop right now or training or one-on-one coaching, I would be screaming this at you. It's so simple that you're going to overlook it. Don't overlook it. Write that down. Carry that with you everywhere you go. You get what you focus on, so focus on what you want. One of the things you have to do is the number one thing you have to do is you have to know what you want and then write it down. If you know what you want, that's how you're going to get it. So one of the secrets about this is, I'm going to give you a really bad example, is if you're saying, oh, I want to heal cancer, what are you focusing on? Yeah, you're focusing on cancer, and thus you're creating it. It's like you're painting it. It's like, I'm going to paint a picture of healing cancer. Well, what has to be included in that? Yeah. So when I do healing with people, I imagine them being completely healed. I'm like, well, what would it be like if they're completely healed? Like, well, this would be clean, healthy skin, healthy muscle, blood flow, beautiful, vibrant energy. That's what I focus on. That's how I heal people. So write this down too. You cannot fix the problem on the level of the problem. You have to go above it. And this is where you guys have been screwing up in your manifestation. And this is something no one has ever taught you before. Alright, so I'm going to teach you what I mean right now. It's something that I've taught you before, but not necessarily when it comes to manifestation. So you might say, okay, Mike, I want a brand new car, or I want this certain thing in my life, okay? Or even I want to lose weight, okay? So first of all, you have to realize, well, what would it be like if you lose weight? Like, well, I would be skinny. So then what you really want is you don't want to lose weight. What you want to do is you want to be skinny or skinnier or in better shape, right? So then once you get that, now do you see how this works? Because if you're focusing on weight, well, you're probably going to add weight. Okay, so focus on like, well, if I had lost the weight, what would that be like? What would I have after that? Well, I would be skinnier, I'd be lighter, I could fit my old jeans, and it would be comfortable again. So now, here's the next step. You have to go to a higher level. So first, know what you want. I want a new car, I want a thinner body. So then your next step is simple. All you're going to do is ask this one question repeatedly about 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So then you're going to say, well, for what purpose? So know what you want, and then say, okay, imagine having that. Okay, that's really the first step. Imagine having what you want, number one. Number two, ask the question, well, for what purpose? What's my purpose for having this? Well, because it'll be fun. Okay, so once you have fun, what's your higher purpose for that? Well, I'd feel free. See, it's going to be, the answer is going to be different for everyone. And you keep asking that question until it repeats the top 2 or 3 things over and over. You know, you might say, well, once I'm free, then I feel like I can go anywhere. So what's your highest purpose for going anywhere? Well, then I feel like I'd be more empowered. And once I'm more empowered, well, how does that make you feel? I go, it would make me feel free. See, I'm already at the top. I'm already repeating the word free. So once you feel free, well, I would feel powerful. Well, what's your highest purpose for feeling powerful? Well, then I can go where I want, do what I want, and be free. So essentially for me, that would mean greater freedom. So once you have that feeling and emotion of greater freedom, that's how you manifest. Now for you, it might be totally different. It's like, well, I'd feel more powerful. I'd feel more this. And what's my purpose for that? And you might end up at the top one being powerful, keeps coming back, okay? So ask yourself at least 3+ times, what's my highest purpose for this? What's my highest purpose for that? So once you get to the next level, well, I would feel free. Well, what's your highest purpose for that? Well, once I have freedom, well, then that would allow me to experience travel. Well, once you have travel, what does that allow you to experience? Well, that would allow me to experience adventure. What's your highest purpose for adventure? Well, adventure gives me meaning to life. So now, do you see how it can be different for each person? So once you have that highest purpose, that's how you manifest. Because that's the feeling that goal gives you. So once you imagine having that highest purpose feeling, that emotion, all you have to do is now imagine sitting in that car or having that body or having that bank account with that. It is the emotion, the feeling that creates the manifestation. And whatever you imagine creates emotions, and those emotions are what create your reality. Please watch that movie with Robin Williams, What Dreams May Come. I will leave a link in there. It's free. You can watch it on YouTube. What I want to say right now is everything that movie has been trying to tell you is absolutely 100% real. This is what everything, all the great poets, all the great writers, the Bible, God, Jesus, all these people have been trying to get you to understand something. You literally create your reality with your thoughts and what you focus on. And all this time, you thought these were just nice movies that they were making. No, it's like, Robin Williams, it's not even, I didn't think the word mansion is the right word. It was like a castle in Napa Valley up on the hill. Is the most beautiful, it's like, it's something that you would see in a movie, and yet it was his in real life. He created that. And all of these people, all of these great teachers have been trying to tell you that you can do it too. So what I'm saying is, or talking about, is be unlimited. Now, a lot of you right now, be unlimited. I remember Tony Robbins came out with it. It was called Personal Power. Let's see if it's on that one. And it said something like unlimited whatever. And you hear about the unlimited mind. Well, this is the left mind, or left versus right mind. The right mind is the unlimited mind. The right mind is also the creative mind. So a lot of people say, well, I feel stuck. Like, well, yeah, because you're stuck in your left brain. You have to get out of the left brain, because the left brain is the limited mind. It's limited. This is all we're doing, is popping you out of that limitation. And now we're putting a full set of colors, paints, paint brushes in front of you for you to begin to create your life the way you want to create it. Tony Robbins called it unlimited power. Now, even though I went to his seminars, I read his books. Man, I read Awaken the Giant within 13 times. And yet that phrase unlimited power, it just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever, it's a little hokey. And that's the thing. I didn't believe that was possible until I began to discover that it was possible. See, listen closely. I mean, it's common sense. This is really basic. It's your limitations that are holding you back. And you can change them just like that. So here's the deal. Your beliefs create your reality, because your beliefs are guides, okay? Now remember, beliefs are not real. You get to pick and choose your beliefs. Is Santa Claus real? I tell you what, if you really believe it, you will manifest it. When I was a child, I was unlimited because I didn't know I didn't have any of these limiting beliefs in my mind yet. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be a state champion of boxing. And everyone around me looked at me like I was nuts. Like, dude, that's just not going to happen. You've never boxed before. You're not strong. You're not this. And in my mind, I'm like, well, yeah, that's because I got to go to practice. I have to learn how, and I got to do my push-ups and my sit-ups, and I'll get strong. I'll get faster. I'll get in better shape, etc. So I remember, like, all of that stuff used to roll off my back. It would just roll off my back like water on a duck's back. It would zip right off, right? And I would just go and do it regardless of all these, what you call, naysayers. See, they're not sharing reality with you. They're not sharing you real beliefs. All they're doing is they're sharing with you their reality based off of their beliefs that are limiting them. So from their perspective, because they believe this, they really think it's real, but it's not. It's just what they believe. Exactly like the way I was. I just believed that I could do anything I put my mind to. And I did. It was only real because I believed it was real. If ye believe, you shall receive whatever you ask for in prayer. Jesus Christ. All of these great teachers have been trying to teach you the same message. You are the artist. You are the movie director. You get to create your life. Whether you believe you can or cannot, you are right. This is why I don't argue with people. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what you believe? Cool, awesome. And I watch their beliefs guide them down the road. And yes, you absolutely 100% can and do change your beliefs. In fact, you change your beliefs all the time. Don't you remember when you were a little kid? I remember my grandmother, and especially across the street when I'd knock on my friend's door before school, her grandmother would come out with the two girls, and she would say, be careful who you hang around because they're going to rub off on you. Be careful of what they say because their beliefs are going to rub off on you. And I remember the little boy looking at her like, what are you talking about? And you know what? It's true. You begin to pick up on other people's beliefs by hanging out with them long enough. You also begin to pick up their habits. And if they're bad habits or bad beliefs, well, that's not going to be a good thing. So there really is no, I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, there really is no bad beliefs or even bad habits. The question is this something that you want in your life? If it's not, then you need to walk away from it. Because maybe to them, they're like, well, I like my life. I like the way things are going. So don't be the demon. Don't be the narcissist that goes into their world and says, no, you've got to change your beliefs like mine. Well, your beliefs might bring pain to them. So I'm going to talk, so first of all, when I learned and understood that my beliefs are not necessarily correct, they're only correct for me, that's when I stopped judging other people. I was like, okay, wait a minute. See, let's say someone comes into your life and they bring a lot of real negativity, negative beliefs, negative values and rules. It's not a matter of me going, oh, you're bad, I need to change you. No, it's a matter of going, well, we don't fit, our values aren't in alignment, so I'm going to move on and I'm going to walk away. One of my biggest beliefs, or maybe that's not a belief, maybe it's a rule, is walk away from bad, go towards good. So when you start to suffer, you're in depression or you're sad or you feel stuck or you're struggling, well, that's a signpost saying, hey, something's not right here. Something does not work with you. There's something that you don't like. Now, it might actually mean all you need to do is change your belief. Or it might mean like, hey, you're hanging around with someone that's really negative that's been bringing you down, and you might need to walk away from that person. So here's another one. And this is a really common sense question. Do your beliefs support you? Now, here's the other thing that I do. So again, one of the most wonderful things in the world was instead of walking around going, wow, they have really bad beliefs or they're very negative, it's like, no, it's like that may just be the way that they enjoy life. And sometimes I watch people and be like, God, that would make me absolutely miserable, but they seem to be okay. They seem to be okay with it. Kind of like crocodiles living in water like 90% of their lives. Like, man, I would not like to be in the water, especially if it's cold, for that length of time. But for crocodiles, it works. So when I let go of all that judgment of other people, all of a sudden I became free because I was chaining myself to those people thinking, oh, I need to change them. They need to change their beliefs. They need to do this or that. Like, no. There's an NLP belief that was taught to us. There was another word they used for it. It was, I can't think of the word right now, but kind of a bigger word than belief. It's kind of like one of our rules is like, look, there's nothing wrong with anybody unless they think there's something wrong with them. If they're not, leave them alone. Once I finally understood that was the most freeing experience I've ever had. I had an old man come to me one day. I had an ad in the local paper for hypnosis and NLP and, stop smoking and get rid of phobias and all that stuff. And he called me and he came over, he had an appointment. And one of the things they teach us is be very careful when your client walks in. Make sure that they're the one who found your ad. Make sure they're the one who it was the idea. Like, hey, I want to come to you and I want to make this change. So as we were going through the session, I noticed within 20 or 30 minutes there was resistance, and I was like, hey, what's going on here, blah, blah, blah. And then, a little bit longer, maybe 45 minutes, I finally kind of got frustrated and say, hey, I go, do you really want to do this? He goes, because he, stopped smoking. He goes, well, yeah, because that's what he came to me for, was stop smoking. And he goes, well, yeah, of course. And his yeah, of course did not sound congruent at all. I'm like, really? I go, you don't sound very convincing. So I looked at him, I go, how did you find me? He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, how did you get my phone number? Did somebody refer you? Like how did you find me? He goes, oh no, I found your ad in the paper. I go, you found my ad in the paper? I go, what did it say? And he looked at me and goes, you know what? Actually, it was my wife that found you. She found your ad in the paper. I was like, so here's the question. Are you the one who wants to stop smoking, or does she want you to stop smoking? He leans back and he looks at me. He goes, honestly, he goes, I like smoking. She's been bugging me to stop smoking for years. He goes, Michael, I was in the army my whole life. I fought in this war and I fought in that war, and I've suffered this and that. And he goes, Michael, I'm 60 some years old. I don't have much time to live. He goes, I only smoke 1 or 2 cigarettes in the morning. He goes, I don't smoke all day. He goes, it's kind of like when people wake up and drink their coffee. He goes, well, I have a cigarette or 2. He goes, that's it. And he said, this is the only peace and little bit of joy that I get out of life anymore. He goes, Michael, men in my family don't live long. He says, I've already lived past the ages of my brothers and my father and my uncles. He goes, I just want this little bit of peace before I die. So I shook his hand, I gave him back his money, and I said, when you have something that you want to change, get a hold of me. See, you don't have to change. You don't have to become something that someone else wants you to become. If you're happy with who you are, then, like they say, do you. Be you. I'm going to start talking about the movie in a few minutes, but there's some really, really important things that I want to talk to you about first. So this is going to be a long video, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to change your life. So in the movie, essentially what happens is it's Robin Williams with his wife, beautiful lady. I can't remember her name right now. I mentioned it earlier. And they had a beautiful family, 2 beautiful children, beautiful home. They were both professionals. They made pretty good money. And she was an artist. She was a painter. She loved to paint, and she was really good at it. And she had an art gallery, etc., etc. So what happened is, on one day, I think it was, I forget who it was somebody was driving. I think it was the maid or whoever took care of the children was driving the children home or to the art gallery or whatever. And they got in an accident and they died. Well, the wife, Robin Williams' wife, the mother, she blamed herself for not being the one who was driving, for not being the one who left to pick up the children instead of letting her maid or the, whatever she was called to go get them. Because, she even said, well, my motherly instincts probably would have avoided the accident. So she blamed herself for the children's death. So then about a year or 2 later, she was at her art gallery and there was a show about to happen and she didn't have certain paintings and she couldn't go get them and etc. because someone forgot to bring them. So she called Robin Williams, her husband, and when he was at work, he was a doctor. And he said, relax, because she was panicking. He goes, I'll go get them and I'll bring them to the art gallery. She goes, really, will you? Thank you. And so he gets in his car eventually later on the day after work. And he's driving down the road and going through this tunnel, bringing the paintings. And what ended up happening was there was a car accident in front of him. Someone was speeding, tried to go around. There was a car accident. Everything flipped over. He stopped just in time. As a doctor, he gets out and runs up to the accident. And sure enough, the cars behind him, some of them stopped, but a truck didn't stop and hit the car behind his and flipped over. And it hit him and he got hurt and he ended up dying. So now she's blaming herself. And eventually she died because, well, she killed herself. And one of the lessons in the movie is, she was in hell, so to speak. But it was a self-imposed hell. In other words, she started picturing all this stuff. It was like she believed self-punishment, even if she wasn't conscious of it. So she believed that she needed to suffer because it was her fault that he died, because she called him and asked him to bring the paintings, blah, 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 okay? This is called survivor's guilt. You believe that somehow you were responsible, or why did I live? I had this for well over a decade after my best friend died, actually a lot longer than that. And you live in this self-imposed hell because you believe that somehow you're bad, or somehow you should be punished. And now you are the artist. You are painting this hell. So you will walk away from people who are trying to lift you up, or people who are just naturally happy, and guess who you're going to attract? Not only attract, but you're going to bring these people into your life. People that are sad, people that are negative, people that are essentially painting the same image, the same movie. So because you have a belief that somehow you should be punished and you feel bad and you did something wrong or whatever, you begin to bring those people into your world that begin to punish you. One of the biggest lessons I had to learn was, how do I say this? It's like people who believe that there's something bad about them, or they're doing this self-punishment thing. Whenever I would come into their life, on the one hand, they loved the happiness, the joy, and the light, but then they would punish me, and they would push me away, because that didn't fit their reality, meaning their belief system, their rules, their values. They believe that we should suffer. Like, there's a lot of Christians, there's a lot of Catholics, not just Catholics, but religious people, all kinds of religious people who believe life is about self-punishment. And it comes from the either-or mentality. Well, if we suffer here on earth, then we can go to heaven and live a heavenly life. Because it can't be both. You can't have a good life here and have a good life there. Yes, you can. Have you ever heard the phrase, bring a heaven on earth? Life can be a hell on earth, or life can be a heaven on earth. And it all goes on what the image is that you're making in your mind, what you're focusing on. You get what you focus on, so focus on what you want, because that's how you paint this picture. That's how you paint the image of your life, and you create. You already are a creator. That's not even a question. The question is, what are you creating? Do you like it, or do you not like it? If you don't like it, change it. So what I started noticing was people had different beliefs than me. So I started paying attention to people who were happier or more successful, or they loved their job, or they had a better relationship. And I would listen closely for what they believe. Like, well, Michael, what I believe is blah, 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 blah. And I would start to pick and choose the beliefs that I liked. And now, here's the really cool thing about this. Like I said a few minutes ago, I stopped judging people, and I started to study people. I started to watch people. I started to listen to people to understand what they thought, what they believed, what their rules were, and how it was affecting their life. And then I began to pick and choose from people. Because, all right, one of the things that they tell us, like Tony Robbins say, hey, take what works and leave aside what doesn't work. So they would teach you a lot of beliefs, a lot of techniques on how to change your life. He goes, hey, this technique or strategy or tool might not work in your system right now, but down the road it might. So you might as well learn how to use it now. So if down the road you want to use it and realize, hey, this can help me in my life now you can pull it into your toolbox. Now again, that doesn't mean that if there's certain people that just don't vibe with you, like, hey, I don't really like what they believe or the things they do, that you don't have to hang out with them. You could be like, hey, this doesn't work with me, and just move along. You're always free to walk away. So the old man called me up a few months later and he said, I had a conversation with my wife, and he goes, Michael, I shared with her what I told you. I told her, like, look, this is the only joy and peace that I get out of life. It's just a moment during the day when I first wake up that this is kind of my routine and I really like it. So when he explained that to her, she suddenly realized, okay, so in other words, she became okay with it because she was worried about his health. She wasn't, now let's say she was like, well, I don't like cigarette smokes. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have married a man who smoked cigarettes in the first place, because he had smoked cigarettes before he ever met her, okay? And so she was okay with that when she understood that that was like one of the things that brought peace into his life. Now, if she didn't like cigarettes to that degree, number one, she never should have married him. Number two, she could have walked away. But that wasn't the issue. The issue was she was just concerned about his health. So, what is hell? What is purgatory? It's a belief. It's a belief that you need to be punished. So you are doing what's called self-punishment. Now, I'm going to make a real simple concept, because everything in this video is really saying this one thing right now. And Grandma was right. Be careful of the people you hang around, because their beliefs are going to rub off on you. And the question is, do your beliefs support you? So the metaphor of the movie with Robin Williams and his wife was she was a painter, she was an artist. And here's the one thing you need to learn right now. It's not like you only get one chance and one canvas to paint one picture and it's got to be done perfectly. No. You can have as many canvases and as many paintings as you want to make. So you get to keep adjusting it and making it better and better and better. Like when the man told his wife why, because it brought peace into his life, suddenly she was okay with him smoking. And it was only 2 cigarettes in the morning anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. So that slight adjustment of her understanding what was going on was like, oh, okay. So all of a sudden peace came back. And remember, you are painting or creating your life by the actions you take, by the thoughts by the beliefs that you have. All of this by the rules that you live by. You can change your rules. Life is a gift from God. What you do with your life is your gift back to God. So my question is, are you painting a magnificent painting? Are you painting a painting full of happiness, joy, life, and color? Are your beliefs, values, and rules creating this? Another part is what's called your strategy. So in NLP and hypnosis, we learn a ton of different strategies. Well, what are these strategies? These are just different techniques on how to paint a more beautiful picture. So that's why you go to art school, you go to art class, because you want to learn how do you paint, how do you create better contrast, deeper contrast, how do you paint these images, how do you paint a nose to where it looks like a human nose, how do you make the eyes look like eyes, how do you make things pop and become more vibrant and more 3D. I teach people how to create their life in a way that they desire. I teach people how to create the lives of their dreams. That's what I do. So here what happens. So what happens is the lady, his wife kills herself and she goes into what I'm going to call a self-imposed hell. Now she can come out at any moment that she wants to. What's happening is she's down there and all she can think of is all these negative thoughts of her children dying and how if she was driving it never would have happened, and how if she never would have asked her husband to drive the paintings to the art gallery, he never would have died in the car accident in the tunnel. And she's just punishing herself and punishing herself. And guess what? This doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help the people around her. It doesn't create a better world. It does nothing but bring darkness. So what was she doing? She was literally painting a life of hell, and that brought her into hell, and that's why she was in hell, because she believed in self-punishment. And that is the message that we've been taught on the planet. Everything, church, self-punishment. Everything is about self-punishment, how you're a sinner. See, it's this either-or mentality. Well, if we don't self-punishment here, then we're going to go to hell. In order to go to heaven, well, you've got to feel bad for your sins, and you're a bad person, and you stepped on a crack, and therefore you sinned against God, and you didn't eat perfectly. And it's like this is all bullshit. And yet, it's not. What it really is those are just negative tools, painting skills on how to create a hell on earth. So Robin Williams is with two people. One ends up being his son, and the other one ends up being, I think it was a teacher that he had, and they were guiding him down into hell to find his wife. And this one guy was the guide, and he could help people. And he said, is your love for your wife strong? And Robin Williams was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, we're going to find her, because that will draw you to her. So Robin Williams, her husband, goes down and he finds her in like this home, and the guy goes, that's not your real house. That's an illusion. It's an illusion that she's created, so don't forget that. It's not real. That belief of that being a house is something that she's created, that she's painted in her mind. And he said, none of this is real. This is all her creation. Remember that. It's important. It's not real. And he tells him, remind her of what life used to be like. Remind her of her love of her children. Bring back the memories of when things were beautiful and wonderful. So he went down there and he started talking to her. And at first, she's like, no. She's fighting him. No. Like she wouldn't let go of this self-imposed punishment from what happened in the past. But he kept on, and he goes, well, do you remember when we all went to the park, and when Jimmy tripped and he fell in the mud, and she starts to laugh, and she starts having the memories, and he goes, remember when the babies were first born, how beautiful they were and how cute they were? Remember that feeling you had inside? What's happening is she's beginning to paint this beautiful picture again. So he continued on, and she began to paint more and more of these pictures. Now, I don't mean physically paint, but in her mind, she is having these memories, and they were laughing about it, and they were talking about it. And then she kind of fell back into the darkness, and he goes, I have to go. I can't stay here too long, because that was one of the things the guide said. Don't stay longer than 3 minutes or so. Well, he stayed about 7 minutes, and he goes, I have to go. It's not that I don't want to, but I can't join you there. Because if you join someone in their darkness, it will make it impossible for you to bring them out. Because their love for you will keep them in that darkness when you're there with them in that darkness. They have to make a choice to begin to paint a beautiful picture, to begin to paint a beautiful life, because that is what gets them out of hell. So he eventually walked out and said, I have to go back to the children. Because the children had died, and they were all in this beautiful heaven. I mean, the colors, the sounds, the adventure, it was so beautiful. And so he went back to be with the children. And eventually she showed up in their heaven. And she was wearing this beautiful blue dress, and her eyes were glowing, her hair was beautiful, and her smile she was glowing. She finally made the decision to start painting a beautiful picture. This is what causes you to live in a hell or to live in heaven. This is your reality. No, this is reality. Whatever you paint, whatever you think of, whatever you focus on is what you get. You get what you focus on. So focus on what you want. And eventually, that's what she wanted. She wanted her children back. She wanted that beautiful life back. And then she popped into heaven. One word, imagination. That's it. Imagination is the steering wheel of your creation. That is your car. That is where you get inside and you begin to steer your life wherever you want to go. All you have to do is use your imagination. Watch that movie. That will help your imagination. That will show you the way. Number 2, buy Tony Robbins' book, Awaken the Giant Within. Read it. Read it once, and 6 months later, read it again. Hell, 3 months later. Read it again 12 months later. Buy good, like the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Busting Loose from the Money Game by Robert Scheinfeld. There's another book that I always recommend to you guys. I have it right here in front of me. It's called The Magic of Believing by Claude M. Bristol. Claude, Claude M. Bristol, Bristol. I've read this book for 20 years now. Whenever I get down, whenever things start going sideways, I start reading this book. Do what works for you. You know, one thing I'll caution you on, be careful of social media, be careful of Facebook, because there's a lot of stuff, negative stuff on there. Even on YouTube, I would pick and choose what you want to watch, because that goes into your imagination. Pick things that are beautiful. Everything that I've talked about in this video is what I do for a living. So you might be saying, but I don't know how to change my belief. Believe it or not, but we have a series of techniques that helps you to change your beliefs. There's one technique called belief change, okay? I do something called reframing. I do something called submodality shifts. All of this is teaching you and helping you to change the beliefs in your mind. Let me tell you something. These are NLP techniques. This is way more powerful than psychology, and it's much more. It's like hypnosis to the 10th power. It's how to actually go inside and change whatever you want to change. Another phrase that I use a lot is learn how to let go. Letting go is your power, literally. We have a series of techniques that'll show you how to let go. So there's quite a few people, one person in particular right now who I'm working with who had a very, 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 very painful life. Something I'm not going to go into right now. But she's having a hard time letting go of the pain of that experience, even though it was a long, long time ago. See, in order to become who you want to be, you have to let go of who you think you are. You have to let go of those beliefs. You have to let go of those memories in order to create a new world. I'll show you how, and I'll walk you out of this hell into a much, much better life. Hey, God bless you guys. This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. If you like this video, click subscribe, click the like button, and go ahead and make a comment. And remember, if you want to donate, there's a donation link right down there. It's a PayPal link. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.